Hello and welcome to Dropkick Chronicles. I'm your man Trey Trey, and this is episode 8. And today we'll be talking about WWE SmackDown versus Raw. Now, before I get into that, of the two shows, I want to say that SmackDown is the better show. SmackDown has always been better than Raw, and SmackDown will always be better than Raw for many reasons, ratings being one of them. Now, you might say that Raw is terrible, and you're right. Raw is terrible, but this is not some type of rant. This is just stating facts, man. Raw's ratings is really fell short. They really fell short. I used to watch Raw and be like, okay, I'm enjoying the show. That's when I was like young, like I was a kid. So like I used to watch Raw like all the time. Today I just see, like, if anything, I'll see the highlights. That's it. I'm not even gonna even watch the show because I'm like, what's the point? Why should I watch 3 hours of you got the same matches? It's like rematch. Okay, championship match, pay per view, rematch. Like nobody's gonna watch that because it's uncoordinated booking. It's like the booking is so all over the place. You know what I'm saying? You got to bring back a part timer to either be champion, or face the world champion and then beat the champion. Not dishing on Brock Lesnar's return and all that transpired last year, and then you move on to this year, WWE Day 1. He walks out with the WWE title. That was exciting to see, but nobody expected that because it was so last minute. And Roman Reigns had caught COVID, so they were putting Brock Lesnar in the championship match in the first place. Now, what I want to say is that Raw is just a travesty. Man, and I'm like, okay, 3 hours of this though. You know, it's like SmackDown is like the anchor for WWE now. And SmackDown has what Raw doesn't. SmackDown's got Roman Reigns. SmackDown's got Tribal Chief, the head of the table, the longest reigning Universal Heavyweight Champion of all time, even over Brock Lesnar's Universal Championship reign just a few years ago. I mean, man, look, think about it. Roman Reigns is the top of his game, and he always says that if I'm winning, WWE is also winning. Which that's true because, sir, look what brand you're on. You're on SmackDown, the home. They call it the Atlanta opportunity. So I mean, like SmackDown in the past has made stars like Eddie Guerrero, John Cena, and Batista, just to name a few. You know, people like Randy Orton and Edge, and a few more others. You know, they ran SmackDown. I don't think because it's a draft and you know, it's a brand split, but that was then and this is now. But SmackDown has been holding down the fort since 1999, and I also like to add that I want to say a writer or producer, old writer producer. His name is Vince Russo. Now, in 1999, Vince Russo left WWE to go to WCW, the sinking ship, and I call it that for a reason because Vince McMahon literally bought that thing. But he went to a sinking ship. Okay, I'm like, why would you go to WCW when you know WCW is not doing big numbers anymore? This is like mid I want to say August 1999. That's what I want to say. Or he left before that. He left before the middle of the year. And he didn't want to have anything to do with the new show SmackDown because Raw was already a show. Raw has been a show since January 11, 1993. But he didn't want to do SmackDown. And he was like, okay, all right, I'll leave the, after my release, whatever you gotta do. And he went straight to WCW. And I'm like, okay. Hearing these stories, it gets me ecstatic because I'm like, okay, these are great stories anyway. Why not? But what I want to say is like SmackDown versus Raw is like a great topic. It ranks up there with the last great topic of mine, which is the Attitude Era versus the Ruthless Aggression Era. And man, that was a great episode to make, and a great episode to talk about those two topics on there. So if you haven't checked episode 7 out, I suggest you go do it. It's out. So still talking about SmackDown versus Raw. Man, Raw in the Ruthless Aggression Era from 2003 to 2005 was bleak. I don't want to say like it was like blind to the fact that, okay, all right, Triple H, world champion. I'm talking about over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. He's winning matches. I'm like, take the belt off the dude. Why you? First mistake, 2003. Triple H versus Booker T. WrestleMania. Should they have put the world title on Booker T at WrestleMania 19? Yes. Why didn't they? I don't know. I'm literally like, man, look, there is no way that you could sit up here and have all I'm talking about the match. The feud itself had racial tensions, right? Anytime you have racial tensions, a black man trying to win a world title, you should put the world title on that man. Why? Why wouldn't you? Okay, and then fast forward later that year, you have I want to say Triple H versus Scott Steiner. Other man, I guess they were like, okay, all right, after that fiasco with the pose down, you got what am I gonna say? Like the number of matches, I think it was oh my God, they had some bad matches. I think they had like 2 matches out of that feud, world title matches. And so, man, it was so bad that they were like, all right, nope, Scott's you're not the guy to beat Triple H. Nope. Nope, not the guy to beat Triple H, and he's just not the guy. He kind of like messed up, and I want to just fast forward to somebody who did beat Triple H. Was supposed to be in that SummerSlam and an Elimination Chamber match for the world title. It was in 2003. Goldberg was supposed to beat Triple H, or so we wanted that to happen. The fans wanted that to happen, and they were like, why, what's going on? Like, why wouldn't you have, Triple H lose the title in a Elimination Chamber match? That I still don't know. But what I'm saying is, man, it's like dang. Goldberg came from WCW, took a little break, a little 2-year break. From 2001 to 2003, then he debuted in WWE. I'm talking about and just mollywopping people, man. Got momentum. He got more momentum, you know what I'm saying, than a regular person out here. Goldberg should have been world champ in WWE at the time that it was first presented. He didn't. I don't think he won the world title until Unforgiven 2003. I'm getting the pay-per-view right. He was either Unforgiven or Armageddon. And so he became world champ that year. Lost the championship to Triple H. And then Triple H went on to continue his reign of terror, as they say. Because, man, that time, and it was so like, dang, when is he gonna lose his title? When is he gonna lose the title? When is he gonna lose the championship? But Triple H still world champ? Really? I thought dang, yo. Like, it had you wondering, like, dang, this dude is still world champion. Like, every time he lose the title, and it was just a couple few examples, you know what I'm saying, of him losing the championship and winning it right back. But at Elimination Chamber and SummerSlam 2003, he retained, and of course Goldberg beat him later in the feud. So, man, Raw back then was crazy. But I remember 2002, which was a great year. 2002, half of 2002 seen WWF, and the other half seen WWE, the same WWE that we know of today. Now, Mr. McMahon came out there. He told his competitors that there is a brass ring. Reach up and grab it, because this is ruthless aggression. What a great time to be a wrestling fan, because that meant that, man, you in for a big treat. And I don't even think back then people was really watching Raw like that. They were watching SmackDown. They were watching SmackDown, because, boy, SmackDown was so grimy, man. Oh, my God. From 2002 to 2007, SmackDown was so grimy that I'm talking like, bro, I would literally rush. And, like, when I was a kid, I would go, like, either to a friend's house, or I would go to, family, over the family house, man, like grandma's house, and them, be watching SmackDown, and they didn't like it, and it was like, what is this? This is wrestling. What's this? It's fake. I was like, we don't use that word. That word is not that word is prohibitado. You can't say the word fake when you're describing professional wrestling or sports entertainment. No, you can't do that. But I would always watch SmackDown and, like, man, and be so excited, because, like, I'm watching my favorite thing I watch. I watch wrestling more than, like, as a kid, more than, like, Disney Channel or Nickelodeon or Boomerang or PBS Kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, normal stuff that kids would actually, watch. I studied wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, it was a point in time when I wanted to be a wrestler. When I grew up, I wanted to be a wrestler. And when I got like, I want to say 11 and 12, I wanted to be a wrestler. I was like, oh, I'm going to get, like, some tights, some boots, elbow pads, wrist tape, have me a whole little character. who didn't want to be a wrestler? I'm gonna tell you who didn't want to be a wrestler. Who? If you're a wrestling fan, diehard wrestling fan, you you know, you breathe, eat, sleep wrestling. Wouldn't you want to be that? Wouldn't you want to be World Heavyweight Champ, WWE Champ, Universal Champ, Tag Team Champ, United States, Intercontinental Champion? You know, wouldn't you want to be that? I'm not even gonna lie to you. That's the same thoughts I had in my head. I'm like, I want this spinner belt, and of course, to get an authentic spinner belt costs some money. But I don't think they really even made them like they make them today. Because today, WWE Shop has them um, for like a little over $400. I want to say some championships are $300, but yeah, that's about regular price. And if you want to authentic, you gotta come out your pockets, man. But man, I'm talking about the whole 9 yards, action figures. I bought WWE magazines. Man, I had every. I'm talking about nearly. I think from when WWE started doing video games, late '90s, early 2000s, and it was SmackDown. Here comes the pain. SmackDown, shut your mouth. SmackDown, was it Know Your Role? I want to say, but then they had Legends of WrestleMania. You had SmackDown, all the SmackDown versus Raws from the first SmackDown versus Raw. They came out in 2004, I want to say, and all the way into 2010. And then WWE 12, WWE 13, then the WWE 2K games, from the one that came out in 2013 all the way to the one that's coming out this year. Man, playing those games, like, telling you, Fort Knox. Playing those games, man, you build your character. You want to, you want your guy, or for ladies, your female superstar character to be right. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. But getting back to SmackDown versus Raw, I wanted to talk about this because, man, why not? It's such a great topic to where you can go and talk about the superstars that pioneered the shows, like back in the Attitude Era. You had Stone Cold, The Rock, Undertaker, Kane, Triple H. Your regular, back then, your stars that you had. Oh yeah, Mick Foley. Let me not forget about him. And the stars you had back then who was running Raw, and this was like 97, 98. It's a little bit before SmackDown even became a show. And I think The Rock he either gave them the idea to do SmackDown, or he had a hand in it. But I know he had a hand in it. So, man, still talking about SmackDown versus Raw, I'm like, man, they gotta fix Raw. Simple as that. They gotta fix Raw. They don't fix Raw, man, I'ma flip. I heard somebody was like, they should just take Raw off TV. I was like, I don't think they're gonna do that. They're still gonna do ratings. They still gonna do, all different type of stuff like merchandise, and then they still gonna do Survivor Series, SmackDown versus Raw. They do that every year, where Raw and 5 superstars from Raw, 5 superstars from SmackDown, they go head to head to see who, like, which brand is better that day, like that night. And so we all know in our hearts, SmackDown will always be in our hearts, you know. Um, but yeah, they gotta fix Raw. There is no loophole around it. You can't. You can be like, well, we're just gonna go off TV for a little bit, and we're gonna see what we can cook up, or we're gonna see what we can do to the storylines, and we're gonna see what we can do, and see who we can make champion next, and see, you know, what's right for it. I'm like, well, they obviously don't do this much planning, because the storylines and like I said before, like, stuff is thrown together, man. I'm like, man, I even noticed that WWE didn't even hire people with wrestling backgrounds, or anything about wrestling. They just know sports. But it's like, okay, where is wrestling? Where is it at? Do you know anything about this industry? Do you know how to write promos? Do you know how to build storylines and break down the storyline within the storyline, and not just putting things together as is? It's just like WWE 2K20. Yes, the developer left. I hated that. But also, once that happened, there was no guidance to where, okay, all right, why are the graphics like this, or why is it glitching like this, or why the game keeps cutting off, or anything like that? Why? I don't get it. But yeah, they gotta fix Raw. Like I said, they have to fix Raw. It's no excuse. Now, aside from all of that, WWE Raw, and especially with it being on Mondays on USA Network, they've always, for some reason, either surpassed, or probably just surpassed NFL's Monday Night Football. The Monday Night Football, I'm sure it went head to head back in the day with the Monday Night Wars within WWE and WCW. I'm sure of it, because, man, if you got that many wrestling fans, of course WWE has the most loyal fan base in the world. But man, if you got that many fans, and you are, doing that big a business, because they would always be like, oh yeah, Raw has, 2012, like, they used to always broadcast like live on the show. Raw has more ratings than like the NHL, the NFL, the NBL, NBA. I'm like, really? You got more ratings than all the sports brands and organizations? Really? Really? Because it seems like to me, ratings are falling short. You need new, new everything, new infrastructure, because they, boy, they need to fix Raw. Oh my God, yes they do. They gotta fix Raw, simply because it's obvious. I'm like, it's obviously something wrong with Raw, man. Why do you keep having the same matches over and over again? Then sometimes the storyline doesn't add up with the outcome. And when it does, it's crazy. It got chaotic outcome to it. You got people throwing stuff at contract signs. You got the show ending in chaos. I know that's for this storyline, but I'm like, it can be subtle. SmackDown doesn't always end in chaos. It's SmackDown, when it's on, it's on. And the show makes an impact. It makes one heck of an impact. So, man, but it's just, man, WWE, man. But yeah, SmackDown versus Raw. Great topic. So, I'm like, this is, I can't make of this. Raw has, I don't know their ratings rate or anything, or if they even surpass AEW. I don't know, but the ratings are below, and I'm like, something's got to give, man. Something has to change to where, okay, you go back to 2-hour shows, or you just do with what you have. And it seems what they've been doing, because sometimes Vince is probably not even at the show, and he's not there to direct them and direct WWE creative on what they need to do to better storylines, to better write promos, to better storytell. And that's what it is. That's all wrestling is at the end of the day. It's storytelling. Every time you see somebody wrestle in a ring, they're telling a story. Every time you hear somebody cut a promo and it's meaningful, they're telling a story. Even when somebody is holding the world championship above their head, they're telling a story. That's what wrestling has always been. Storytelling, man. Oh, yeah. So that's what I'm going to need from WWE. More storytelling, but I'm going to need it in a meaningful manner, because if you say two people don't have, chemistry in the ring, how are they going to perform that? How are they going to, have that chemistry that they need to have to wow fans, sell tickets, put butts in seats, How they going to have that? I don't know. It's just that it's like, okay, But man, yeah, SmackDown versus Raw is one of the greatest topics I've ever encountered. I wanted to do this a while back, but I was on a break, and if some of you may not know that I produce music, so your boy be busy, trust me. But I'm glad we're talking about it now, and we can get this squared away and really just get to it, just get to it. 2022, and oh yeah, I can't wait to see what they have in store for WrestleMania. I can't wait to see what they have in store for Elimination Chamber. Speaking of Elimination Chamber, breaking news, people. Elimination Chamber, I think, is being held in Saudi Arabia, if I'm not wrong. Why they doing this, I don't know. I guess this is a big change in location. They wanted the pay-per-view, or the premium live event to, oh yeah, full disclosure, they don't call it pay-per-views anymore. Yeah, premium live event now. So they want the premium live event to be like big, and like have let that have its pageantry, if you will, overseas. Now, do I like the concept of going to Saudi Arabia? No, I didn't do it. I didn't never like the concept when they was doing it for Crown Jewel and those shows. Man, it's the Saudi shows are just cash grabs, I guess. And it's like what's the point? What's the point of having it over there when you can pack out an arena domestically, do what you've been doing, pack out an arena domestically and have the pay-per-view. I'm so used to saying pay-per-view for all these years. Have the premium live event. You know what I'm saying? But you don't have to go all the way so far to Saudi Arabia and have it. I'm like, what good is that gonna do? You know what I'm saying? What if your wrestlers can't get back home to the US? You never know. But WWE has a deal with Saudi Arabia, and venue wise, they can go over there anytime if they feel like, okay, all right, let's travel overseas and let's wrestle for the fans over there. Then let the American fans or what have you, watch on TV. But man, I just want to say that SmackDown is my favorite out of the two because, of course, it has Roman Reigns and you got the Usos. They are the ones. You have so many other superstars that get a chance every week to showcase what they're made of. You know what I'm saying? That's what I like to see. I like to see WWE, bring in new stars like Ridge Holland. He's on SmackDown. He's with Sheamus. He's been in WWE for a little while. I used to see him in NXT. His name is Rick Boogs. Shout out to him. The man can play guitar like crazy. But he's with Shinsuke Nakamura, who is the Intercontinental Champion. Another man who should have won the WWE title at the time when the opportunity was presented to him. They should have struck then. They should have made the King of Strong Style WWE champ. That would have christened his career. Not really just his WWE career. I want to say they would have christened his WWE career because he's won championships all over the world. So, especially in Japan, where he's from. But yeah, man. Yeah, SmackDown is that show. It's unmatched. I'm like, well, dang, how did you first create Raw, then you had SmackDown come roughly 6 years after that, right? So, man, I'm like, how the heck did you let SmackDown be better than you? But of course, it's SmackDown. It's freaking SmackDown, man. Like, man, I never get tired of talking about SmackDown or Raw. But now, yeah, like I said before, WWE always does a good job of building, or not just building, but bringing in new people. In NXT it's a great example. I actually went to NXT this past Tuesday, and it was great. It was great. I enjoyed myself. I seen not all the new stars that they've brought in. Like Cora Jade, Gigi Dolan. There's another girl. Manny Rose been there. Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes. You know what I'm saying? And just to name a few, like that's crazy that you get to see that. You get to see them be who they are, and that's how you make us. That's how you make a star. You let them be them, not let them, sink into a promo that they're not comfortable with. But you got to work with what they give you. It's it's just simple as that. You got to work with what they give you. If you don't, and that's you out of the door. You don't have a job in WWE. You have to work within the system. And I've always like kind of I don't want to say despise that theory or that method, but I'm like, man, look, here's the thing, dog. Obviously a fan, but I'd rather see someone, be their own superstar instead of be like, okay, all right, you got to go to promo school, then you gotta brought this merchandise and da-da-da. I'm like, well, yeah, of course I do merchandise and stuff, but I gotta have, for me to be a wrestler, man, I gotta have creative control over my character, because why do it? But you do it because you love it. You do it because it's wrestling, man. It's the excitement. For me, it's the excitement. But that's the thing. Me being a fan, I always want to see, superstars, my favorite superstars, be champions. You know what I'm saying? So I myself want to be a champion. I myself want to be a world champion. But I'm like, not really. It's not really for me. Wrestling is not for me. But WWE, one day, boy's famous, and he either just known, man. I don't know. I'm just playing. I don't want to be in the ring. Nah, I don't want to be in the ring. I just rather just manage someone or anything, or be on like special guest commentary, special guest referee, something like that. Special guest ring announcer, or special guest, person that rings the bell, or special guest timekeeper. I don't know, but yeah, it has been great talking about WWE SmackDown versus Raw. I'm your man Trey, and this is Dropkick Chronicles. See you.